Live, maybe computer goes live.
We are live.
We are live. Yay! Hey guys, welcome to a new live session from NZ Pocket Guide. Today we're going to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, but before that we're going to celebrate a couple of special days today. Woo! So first up, it is World Environment Day. So that's actually something which is quite dear to our heart and everything. So what will you do today to protect the environment? So today, for us, we are going to be living completely plastic free. So we're not going to use any item that includes plastic. So that's a good start. And we're going to eat mostly things that we've grown ourselves. So here you go, and do everything, kind of by hand. So in order to live kind of in a sustainable way. So that's what we have decided to do for World Environment Day. So tell us in the comments what you have decided to do. Now, there is another very special day today. It's World International Mongolia Day. So do you guys know what's the capital of Mongolia by any chance? Laura, by any chance, do you know?
Oh, God, is it Ulu? Does it start like that?
It starts kind of.
Ulaanbaatar.
Ulaanbaatar. That was close enough. And, no, it's not. That was just an inside joke between Laura and I. She can't remember that. But another International Day, and something which is very dear to a very good friend of ours. So we're going to say hi to Nick and Maria. It is World Sausage Roll Day. So here you go. We know that
you've prepared us some sausage rolls to eat during this live session.
Yeah, but those two friends, Nick and Maria, they literally live religiously by that very day. So here you go. That's kind of like the equivalent of their Christmas. So here you go.
Wow.
So that's why we say hi to those two guys.
And it's actually a public holiday weekend in New Zealand.
Yes, it's also Queen's birthday. I kind of forgot about that. So yeah, it's Queen's birthday. So what do we celebrate on Queen's birthday in New Zealand, Laura?
We celebrate the fact that it's a day off, I think. That's what most New Zealanders...
The fact it's Queen's birthday doesn't give you a hint of what we're celebrating?
No.
Okay, here you go. And Sass Central. Anyway, happy birthday to the Queen. I don't know when it actually is.
Well, apparently she has 2 birthdays.
And wasn't it like from Queen's Victoria anyway, like the birthday?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I thought it was meant to be for Queen Elizabeth.
Okay. Anyway, we never really know. And then... Yeah, so now we're going to answer your questions about traveling in New Zealand, because we kind of are the experts of traveling in New Zealand. But Laura, why are we the experts?
Well, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide, because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand. Of course, when you're actually able to come to New Zealand, because once again, at the time of recording this video, which is in what? Are we in June now?
Yes, we are the 6th of June.
June 2021, the borders are still closed to international travelers in New Zealand. So bear that in mind, but it's never too early to plan a trip to New Zealand. So if you want to get a head start on planning the perfect road trip around the country, or doing a working holiday in New Zealand, traveling with the family, or doing a luxury getaway, then head over to nzpocketguide.com, which has lots of lots of information to help you plan the perfect trip.
So we have a comment from Nick in the live chat, which is, very excited about World Sausage Roll Day. I think he's really upset that it is not in the plans for him to have sausage rolls today. What the hell? So yeah, you should get yourself some sausage rolls.
You could be spontaneous and just go and get
some. I mean, they literally build a sausage roll Christmas tree and they have little sausage roll ornaments on them. I mean, that is how seriously they're taking sausage rolls over there in the small town of Taupo. So here you go. Anyway, so what do we have in the comments? We have Anthony Comstock that says Morena from Rodeo, California. If you guys don't know what that means, Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language. Nathan Bates says, Kia ora, good morning, Laura and Robin. Kia ora, Nathan, how are you doing today? Grant Montgomery that says Morena from Ohio. He says it's Grant. G-Hope. No, G.
This is G.
This is G. Oh, yeah.
G for Grant.
That's how you drop it. Okay.
Yeah.
This is G. Says, hope all is well on our way with the floods. So, yes, there is quite a lot of floods in New Zealand at the moment, but it's mostly on the southern end, mostly around the Canterbury Plains. So, if you guys don't know where the Canterbury Plains are, we're going to show you quickly on the map. Yeah, that's been a long time. So, the Canterbury Plains are basically around this kind of area right here. And so this is probably the flattest part of all New Zealand. And so as soon as you do get a little too much water, which it's really rainy right now, we are in, we're now winter.
Yeah.
We had a really good weathery autumn. So yeah, there is a lot of flood happening here. The good thing is that it's mostly fields, so it doesn't affect that many people. There is a few towns which are affected, like Ashburton, which is around here. But yeah, we're pretty well equipped with that. So although it makes the news, it's okay.
Yeah.
But since we live in central North Island, somewhere around here, we are not affected by that. So we are fine. Thank you, Grant. Cool. And he says, do you think it's possible for New Zealand to open their border and still have capacity for quarantine? The capacity for quarantine in New Zealand are quite limited, and I think that the system that they currently have, they're very happy with. So I wouldn't see them doing that. I only see them kind of go like small country by small country, like they're doing right now with the Cook Islands, which New Zealand has its border open with, and that's a quarantine-free travel. They also did open quarantine-free travel with Australia, with some caveats right now. For example, the state of Victoria and the city of Melbourne right now are under pretty heavy COVID outbreaks, so therefore the travels back and forth from there are not allowed. So I don't think that they will actually really be just opening the borders and still having room for quarantine. I think they will just keep the current system, which is people which actually can come to New Zealand, which there's a very small amount of exception, therefore can come, and then they're just going to wait to do a full border reopening. But with vaccination progress going kind of well underway all around the world, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, although the New Zealand general population has not been vaccinated yet. But I'll get to that when I finish clearing up the first few comments of the day. Okay, Mark says, hi, Lauren, Robin, 4 a.m. here in Perth, busy studying for uni. 4 a.m. What are you doing awake?
I think that's probably normal for a uni student.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, you're way too studious.
That's about the time you come home from the night out.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Way too studious. They're not studying till 4 a.m.
I know. I thought you just. I was shocked. He says, I love your content and planning to travel to the South Island for 2 weeks in November. How early do you recommend booking accommodation and cars? That's a very good question, Mark. So coming in this November right now, so usually traditionally November is the peak season in New Zealand. However, because of COVID this year, things are going to be slightly bit different. So if you were to ask me any time, any other years than 2021, I would have said you probably should have everything booked by like end of August or September. At the latest, this is when you have everything booked. Right now, due to COVID, I think we're going to have much less people. I don't think the New Zealand borders will be opened in November. Actually, if you refer to our prediction, we actually don't think it's going to open generally until like 2022. So I think you're going to be safe right here. However, when it comes down to car rental prices, especially in summer, are going to spike quite a lot because a lot of car rental companies have decided to either sell their inventory or try to make some money back from COVID. So if I were you, I'll head to the NZ Pocket Guide website. I'll show you right now. If I can do that while I talk, boom, the NZ Pocket Guide website right now, you should see it. And then on travel tips here, we have transport and then we have car rentals. And in there, we do have plenty of articles for you to be able to pick which one is the best car rental for you right here. With, for example, best car rental company in Auckland, best car rental company in New Zealand, best car rental company in Christchurch, etc. So you catch my drift. So if you go to the South Island, you're probably going to land in Christchurch. So you can go on that article and then we compare all those car rental companies. If I were you, I'll just go over this article and I pick the 2 or 3 which are the one that I like the most, and I kind of keep price watching on it. So there is some really good website like rentalcars.com, for instance, where you can just kind of keep a price watch on that. And as soon as you have a price that you like, I will book. Just because I don't think basically the closer you're going to come to the date, the more expensive it's going to be. So I don't think you're going to want to wait for too long.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. When it comes down to accommodation, I'm pretty sure you genuinely can wait like only about a month before you go to book them. I don't think anything is going to be fully booked. Yes, you are staying for quite a while. So if you're planning on staying up to Christmas, like the week leading to Christmas and the 2 weeks after Christmas, which leads basically to like kind of mid-January, all the locals are traveling and then things are getting really, really fully booked. So you say you're going 2 weeks in November. I don't know when in November. If it's around the end of November, you may want to kind of work this one in. But if it's just in November, I think you definitely can just wait 1 month. Yeah. Would you concur?
I would not concur, but however,
you would not concur.
No.
That means you're agreeing.
Oh, I would concur.
No,
I do agree. I do agree.
Okay, so would you concur?
Therefore,
yes.
I do agree. However, have an additional point to make. So if you're planning on maybe staying in accommodation in a town with very limited accommodation, I say town, but the example I'm thinking of is Milford Sound, for instance. If you wanted to stay at the Milford Sound Lodge, where that's the only accommodation in that area, then, for instance, that needs to be booked as early in advance as possible. Also, Lake Tekapo has quite limited accommodation. So if you were planning on staying there, then maybe you want to plan booking that accommodation a little bit more in advance. So if you're staying anywhere where you know there's going to be much less accommodation available, then they're the sort of ones that you probably want to book ahead so that you're not disappointed. All right.
Okay, so we have Nana that says, good morning, pretty friends, live from Ghana. Thank you, Nana, for popping in another day. I mean, you're becoming one of our little regulars. That's really cool. I like it. I like to have regulars from all around the world. Speaking of very far away all around the world, Nathan Bates says, I have been busy at work with people who are coming to Topo from different places.
Ooh, that's really different places.
Yeah, where are they coming from?
Yes.
Anthony Comstock says, I'm on the road and it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit here, but I'm still listening. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, what is it in Celsius? Do you have any idea? I have no idea.
I'm not 100% sure.
I don't even have a guess.
I think that's about 20-something degrees, so I think that's quite warm. Yeah, maybe like 25 degrees, maybe, or 20. Yeah.
Interesting. Calo also, nice little regular coming back all the time. Calo, we always some good questions. Says, she or he says, Calo, can you tell me if it's, should I say she, he, or they for you? So I know for next time, since you come all the time. I'd love to know. So Carlos says, hi guys, can you give me some tips on driving the roundabouts? Are there a lot on the South Island, Laura?
Well, there are a fair few on the South Island, especially once you get to any major towns or cities, for instance, in Christchurch or Queenstown. Wanaka. I'm just trying to think of random places where there are roundabouts that I remember. But yeah, in most towns, basically. So you are likely to come across them a few times. So the way the roundabouts work is that you need to give way to your left. Is that right? Or your right? You need to give way to your right.
Yeah, well, I need to picture it. So I need to picture it when I drive.
I come up to the roundabout and I give way to my right.
People are coming that way. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm like...
So if there's a car coming in your direction from your right-hand side, even if it's not actually entered the roundabout, but it's close enough to come and you potentially hit it if you were to drive off, just be aware of the traffic coming from your right. And once there's a reasonable gap to go, a nice safe gap to go, then you go, and then people will give way to you if you are the one on their right.
But what's your real tip about roundabouts?
Real tip?
Her real tip is to let Robin drive. That's what she does a lot. Most of the time she says, Robin, do you mind driving? And I end up always driving.
Okay, so yeah, just call Robin and he'll drive you.
Actually, one of the tips I would give you, right? Because so when I came to New Zealand, that's the country here. So I came from countries where I've been driving on the other side of the roads, right? So obviously when I shouldn't say the word right randomly in a sentence when we are going to be talking about left and right, but correct. The first thing that I did when I had my vehicle, my car rental, right? Correct. Mm-hmm. I drove in front of a roundabout and I kind of just stopped there and I gave myself literally 10 seconds. I told myself before even I started driving, I said, the first time I'm going to see a roundabout, I'm actually going to watch for 10 seconds the traffic flows and how it is. Because it's not that hard to kind of get into the flow of the traffic once you see it. Every kind of muscle memory kicks back in gear, no matter which side of the road you're driving. So I gave myself 10 seconds. To be fair, this was in Auckland because that's where most people arrive and pick up their car rental. And Aucklanders are not the friendliest of drivers. So I was honked at a few times, but I gave myself 10 seconds to watch the traffic. I did that a couple of times. And then after that, I was quite confident with the roundabout. The first time I approached the roundabout as well, I put myself in the wrong lane. So I ended up having to go to the inside lane of the roundabout. So I did a couple of loops in order for me to be able to get out of the inner lane and get to the outer lane. It's fine if you have to go two times around. Honestly, you're better off doing 2 loops than crashing your car and having to go back to the car rental company and sort everything out. So I say, take it slowly, watch the traffic. If you make a mistake, do another loop. It's absolutely fine. Honestly, one guy honking is never going to change your day. A lot of people get really stressed when someone honks. It's a stressful night. Don't bother. That would be my tip when coming from a country that drives on the other side of the road and you are approaching a roundabout. Because I agree with you, Carlo. You're right to be a bit scared of that. This was the scariest thing that I've done when kind of started driving in New Zealand. It is a bit stressful, and I was worried about it as well when I picked up the car. So I think a lot of people don't tend to ask that. Good on you for asking.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, I know that a lot of people from the US are not confident with roundabouts because there's not as many roundabouts.
There's just no roundabout in the US.
in the US. So I think another tip that what you were saying, it just sort of reminded me that also, yes, when you're approaching especially larger roundabouts, there are usually a couple of lanes with arrows on saying, if you plan to basically what they indicate is that if you plan to take the first exit, you need to get in the far left lane, and there'll be an arrow to show it's turning left or straight on, because sometimes you can use that lane to go either straight on or left. And then usually the inside lane is more if you are going straight on or right, and they'll have arrows too, so painted on the road to indicate which lane you should go in for which exit you're going to take. So when you're approaching a roundabout, make sure you actually approach it slowly so you have the time to take in that information and know where you need to go and which lane you need to take. And there's usually enough sort of time before you actually approach the roundabout to sort of, the signs and the painting on the road and stuff sort of gives you enough time to make that decision before you actually get to the roundabout. So keep that in mind as well. Don't just rally up to the end of a roundabout and be like, oh no, where do I go now? So just make sure you plan before you reach that, the roundabout.
So Clay, which is a local from Dunedin, says double lane roundabout gets my nerves up. So here you go, even the locals. And we also have Christina that says we should be doing a video going through some roundabouts. Maybe we will. It's not the hardest thing to do. So yeah, maybe actually we will do that.
We could do a really fun one of just going round and round the one roundabout for ages.
Here's what not to do on the roundabout.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, cool. I'm also going to stop everything right now. We have Michael Scott in the chat, so I'm just going to say...
Scott.
I think it's not... It's what is it? Is it Prison Mike? We have Prison Mike in the chat that says, not all heroes wear capes. Thank you, Prison Mike. I'm going to go back to everybody else, but, if there is something to do with Michael Scott, I will stop everything, and you will take priority, I have to say, especially if it's Prison Mike. So here you go. Thank you, Prison Mike. This is nonsense today. Yeah.
So Grant said, thank you so much.
Exactly. Extreme Talauta says, just to say, Morena won't be in for long because I have the first game at 8:30. Wow. Ooh. So in 12 minutes. Morena, enjoy the game. Have fun.
And goodbye.
Yeah. Clay says, there is a day for sausage roll officially on my calendar now. Yes, mate. So the 6th of July is official sausage roll day, but it's also World Environment Day. So just do a bit of both, please. Not just stuff yourself.
But make your own sausage rolls instead of buying sausage rolls wrapped in plastic. That's a good compromise for World Environment Day.
Also, it's going to be pretty rainy today, so you may want to keep the kids busy. So make your kids make you homemade sausage rolls. Here you go. Yeah. Crack the whip. Enjoy sausage roll day.
I don't know if people understand that children are not slaves. I don't know if it's kind of like...
Children are not free labours. No. Why do you have kids
They're not house elves, are they?
House elves. Okay, Christina says, good morning. She says, it's a hot one here. It's 29 Celsius. It's feeling more like 34 Celsius with the humidex. Okay, she said, that makes me think, is there really humid days in New Zealand at all? I would say the humid days in New Zealand, for my opinion, they're more like today, right? Today in New Zealand, it is winter. It's quite rainy. It just feels like all kind of really damp and everything.
Yeah.
But not like the hot and humid. I don't think really we experience that in New Zealand, do we?
Not really. I do remember a few... maybe 1 or 2 days in summer, you do feel like, it feels a little bit humid today, but it's only literally would be one random day in summer where there's a weather anomaly or something. So yeah, it's not really common at all, really, for to be hot and humid in New Zealand.
Come on, Prison Mike, another quote. Mark Angelo says, thank you very much for the answer. You're very welcome. And Carlo says she's a she. So here you go. Now I know Carlo, and I will try to remember. Daniel Doyle says, hi, guys. I'm still thinking about doing a New Zealand working holiday when COVID calms down. I can't decide whether traveling by bus or to buy a campervan. Please share your advice. and he says he's greeting once again from the UK. That's nice. Okay, so do you want to give some advice to Daniel between comparing buses and campervan for a working holiday in New Zealand?
Okay. Do you want to hit it off, or shall I?
Yeah, okay. So when coming on a working holiday in New Zealand, just if you guys don't know what it is, a little bit of context. The working holiday in New Zealand is a type of visa that allows you to work and travel in New Zealand for up to 12 months, 24 months if you're from the UK or Canada. And it's usually a great way for younger people to be able to experience New Zealand for a longer time period. And so the answer to your question, should you travel by bus or by a campervan? Because renting a campervan would be way too expensive for that kind of time. It really depends on how long you have in New Zealand. That's going to be mostly kind of your main train of thought. But Laura is going to take it away and tell you everything about it.
Yeah, so one of the bus options I would take if you're in New Zealand for an extended period of time, for instance, doing a working holiday, is that there's a bus option which is the hop-on, hop-off buses. And this is typically, there's 3 main companies for that. There's Kiwi Experience, there's Stray, and then there's Flying Kiwi. Kiwi Experience and Stray work very, very similar.
They're the same.
They're pretty much the same, yeah. They go to maybe slightly different destinations, but really they're usually the destinations that most people want to go to is included in the itinerary as well. They go both North Island and South Island. And how they work is that they have buses running about every 3 days, and it gives you the option to, if you get to a destination, you can hop off the bus and you can catch the next bus on a following date that there is a new arrival. You usually have to book to go back onto the bus. And so there's that option of hop on, hop off around the country. And Flying Kiwi, their arrivals is usually about 9 days apart. So you have to bear in mind, if you want to hop off with Flying Kiwi, that you're going to be staying in that area for quite a while before getting back on the bus. So that's how the hop-on, hop-off buses work. There's also the other bus option, which is the sort of national bus service, which is run by Intercity. And this is sort of your cheapest bus option. And it's just sort of an A to B, getting to destinations around New Zealand. They go to the most destinations around the country. And they have different sort of bus passes available. So they have like a flexi pass where you have a set amount of hours that you're on the bus and you sort of pay for the hours, for instance, which works out a bit cheaper than buying bus tickets one by one. Or they have a travel pass, which is a set itinerary around the country, and you basically pay for going to the destinations that are on the itinerary. So that's how the buses work. And shall we move on to what the benefits of that are? So the benefits of that is that it's a more social way of traveling around New Zealand compared to if you're in a camper van, which you would assume you would be doing by yourself if you are just coming on a working holiday by yourself. So if you actually want to come to New Zealand and meet other people, then usually taking the bus is a good idea. On the hop-on, hop-off buses, you're usually traveling with people that are there are also usually solo travelers as well, although there's usually like a couple of friends here and there, or a couple of couples or whatever. So that's like the hop-on, hop-off buses are like people that are basically in the same boat as you. They've come to New Zealand to travel, and they're usually open-minded to traveling with other people and meeting other people, and it's all a good time. And then on the Intercity bus, you're usually more with maybe a mix of people like locals but a few odd travelers as well. But the vibe, like the social vibe on the Intercity bus is not quite the same. You're kind of like, there'll be some people that just want to keep to themselves, but then you can sometimes spark up a conversation with whoever you're sat next to. It really depends like on who you end up sitting with, I guess. But yeah. So if you're looking for that social experience, then the buses is kind of the way to go. And also in terms of the cost, typically the buses would be cheaper. Would you agree? Or
yeah, the buses are definitely going to be cheaper than having to buy your own campervan. However, because of, even if you buy a campervan and let's say you sell it for the same amount of price that you're going to buy it from, which you won't, you will obviously lose some money. You still, like, the amount of gas that you're going to have to pay and everything is going to be a bit cheaper, but you get more flexibility out of traveling with the campervan, and it comes with a lot of different advantages as well.
Yeah. So disadvantages though of hop on, hop off bus?
Oh, disadvantages. Disadvantages. You are stuck to one specific itinerary. Usually, the price which is advertised is always going to be more. You also have to remember you have to include your accommodation. You are going to be somewhat peer pressured in doing a lot of different activities as well, just because everybody else is going to want to be doing it. So you're going to want to be with your friends if everybody goes skydive. So you're going to do the skydive, or you're going to do the cruise, or you're going to do this. So you're going to end up doing a lot of activities as well, and you are stuck to their schedule. So traveling with a hop on hop off bus means that you literally can only take the bus every 2 to 3 days whenever they come. If they're not full, you need to book them in advance, all this kind of thing. So there is quite a few constraints that can be mitigated by deciding, rather than going on a hop on hop off bus, taking a bus like Intercity, which is national coach bus, and then you buy tickets. But they still have like very similar advantage and disadvantage as well. So I think we should just compare that bus in general, and we have plenty of videos of buses in New Zealand and plenty of articles on NZ Pocket Guide as well. So we're comparing that whole thing to campervan.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Get started on campervan.
So campervans. So the cool thing about this is that obviously your accommodation is included with your transport. So it kind of makes, it stops you having to, unpack all your clothes, going to different accommodations and stuff. So it kind of has a convenience in that sense. However, as we've already talked about, it's not as social as going around the country by bus. So you are like spending most of the time by yourself, but that's not saying that you won't meet anyone. If you're going to holiday parks or campsites, you can easily get started talking to people as you in places that you're staying and stuff. Or you can even, there's many different like Facebook groups and stuff where you can offer to give people rides if you want to, do a bit of carpooling stuff. That's always an option as well. So although it's not as social as taking the bus, you can always make it social with a little bit of effort. But also, another advantage for buying a campervan is that you can go basically wherever you want. You're free to go to, you have ultimate freedom. You're not stuck to the itinerary or the schedule of buses. And you'll find in New Zealand that there are a lot of, in particular, hiking trails, which you do have to get a little bit off the beaten track to go and do, which you just don't really get that flexibility with going with the bus. There's also maybe just adding a disadvantage to campervans is that it kind of pays to have a little bit of know-how of how to fix things if things go wrong in your campervan.
Because you're going to buy something old, sorry to cut you, but you're going to buy an old campervan. You're not going to buy anything new. So therefore, there's going to be some cost incurred with maintaining a campervan for about a year, which is going to be an old vehicle. It is not cheap.
Yes, and not only do you need to, just in case there can be some mechanical failures with the engine and stuff, so you need to maybe have a contingency plan or some backup money for in case maybe your campervan breaks down or you have any sort of, vehicle troubles in that sense. But also you need to take into consideration the sort of home amenity side of a campervan. Like, for instance, if you've got a fridge or sink or toilet or all that sort of thing, then there may be things to sort of make sure that when you're buying a campervan, you want to make sure that's all working correctly. And then if not, or you know how to fix it, if not, for instance. So there's just a few more sort of maintenance to think about when you have your own campervan. And in addition, I mean, there's different seasons that you'll be traveling around in New Zealand. You might find in winter it's a little bit colder. You'll need to be a bit more prepared, making sure that you have like a nice warm sleeping bag with extra blankets and good sort of thermal layers and stuff like that. So you need to take that sort of thing into consideration as well if you're driving when things or camping when things get a little bit colder. Is there anything that I missed with this comparison?
Well, one of the main thing that I would like to consider as well is really and what I said at the beginning is the amount of time that you have around New Zealand, right? If you decide to come and do a working holiday just for your season, so let's say for about 3 months, when you have the summer break or something like that, then at that point you got to travel by bus. Otherwise, if you come for any longer, let's say 5 months and up, you're better off buying yourself your own campervan. Know that when buying yourself your own campervan, you're not saving money on accommodation. You will need to stay in hostels regularly to be able to take your shower, to do all these kind of things. You will need to stay in holiday parks in order to be able to repower if you do have a campervan with all that. And note as well that when buying a campervan, you will waste a lot of your time. You're going to spend 1 to 2 weeks in Auckland trying to buy the correct campervan, and then 1 to 2 weeks trying to sell your campervan afterwards to get some of your money back. You can mitigate that time by spending a little bit more money and going with some companies that already have campervans and everything like that, and by selling your campervan quite cheap in order to get a quick sale. I personally will say that because I think my time is very valuable, but it's really up to you. If you check out nzpocketguide.com, we do have a lot of travel tips for you on the website, especially about buying and selling campervan and about buses. So the easy way to find it is to click on prepare your trip and then transportation. And then there we do have a tab all about buses, and there is a lot of things. We compare all the different intercity bus passes. We explain how the routes around New Zealand for the national coach buses work. We also talk about all the things that there is to know about hop on, hop off buses. So there's really a lot of information. It's your Bible for like buses travel in New Zealand. But there is also a tab about buying and selling a car and campervans. And on there, we do have full guides on what you need to look for buying a campervan. It's like a 4-step guide, and you literally have a thorough checklist of everything to do, from like the car buying process, what you need to look for, all the paperwork and everything like that, as well as tips for selling your car. And there's also a lot of recommendations on some companies that you can actually buy the car from. It will be more expensive, but it may save you a lot of time and also give you a bit of peace of mind, because a lot of time when you buy your campervan through a company, you have about 2 to 3 months mechanical warranty, which is always quite handy. All right, so if you do want more information, nzpocketguide.com. I'm also going to put a card up top at some point during the video, which is going to have a link. And also, there's going to be a couple of videos at the end of this with more information for you. I hope you found that useful. By the way, guys, if you do find this video useful, hit like and subscribe. It's a great free way to say thank you for all our hard work. YouTube just popped in and just said, do that. Anyway, here we go, Daniel. Can we talk any longer about those kind of things? Sometimes we just get sidetracked and we enjoy what we're doing. Oh, there's a big bird.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carol says she. I already read that. Okay, Mark Angelo Gabriel says, so main thing I'm hoping to take advantage of is relocation car deals. Has COVID affected the availability of that very much? I'm landing in Queenstown and leaving in Christchurch, so hopefully there is a deal. So I've actually kept an eye on that, and there is a great company called Transfer Car. We do have a full article on nzpocketguide.com talking about car relocation. I'm going to load that up while I'm talking about it. So now about car relocation, I'm going to type that right here, car relo. We have a full guide on that. So about car relocation, I have noticed that there is a big lack of inventory right now. Just so you know, a lot of Kiwis basically are not needing a car because, well, most of the travelers are locals, right? And so therefore they don't need to rent a car in order to travel around New Zealand. They have their own. So there is really not that many cars to relocate. And on top of that, finding people to relocate car actually does cost some money to company. They have to pay companies such as Transfer Cars, which are like this company here, Transfer Car, it's written, the word is here. So they have to pay those kind of companies in order for them to list that, to find them a driver, to drive them and everything. And since all those car rental companies are kind of like, a bit out of money at the moment, they don't have that much budget in order to sort out relocation, and they try to sort it out on their own. So for this reason, availability is extremely low right now. So I will say, don't rely on that, or at least make sure that you have the budget to rent if you don't find that deal. That would be my take.
But definitely keep an eye out on those websites like Transfer Car to just see like how it's going on your lead up to your trip, seeing if there are going to be cars available or if it seems like cars are going to be available. For instance, even our neighbors, actually, they a few months ago did a car relocation. So I mean, there's definitely
that was definitely not that route.
Oh no, it was from maybe Wellington to Auckland or something. But yeah, so you need to just keep an eye on it and see what's available on the lead up to your trip.
Yes, because also the route that you have is not necessarily even the most common. So, okay, what do we have? Nathan says in Topo there's a lot of Aucklanders and people from Palmerston North as well. Yeah. That's interesting. Christian Martinez say, hey guys, what are the New Zealand work visas? Where to find job for that visas? I'm looking for a friend that has experience in UX design. He wants to visit and or work in New Zealand. So that's very easy. You can contact Immigration New Zealand. So that's immigration.govt.nz. I'm going to put a link on screen in a second. And on their website, you'll be able to find all the different type of work visas and what you need to do in order to get those work visas. So on here, we're more of a travel channel, and there is a law in New Zealand that states that in New Zealand, you cannot give immigration advice if you are not registered immigration advisor, and so therefore we may face a fine, and we would not like to pay a fine for that. So therefore we cannot give immigration advice to people. We just give generic statements. So definitely check out immigration.govt.nz. There is like even questionnaires where you can click and you can answer a few questions. It tells you which visa you are eligible for, so that'd be quite cool. But yeah, UX design is definitely in high demand. We are struggling finding people to work for us, even remotely. So here you go. Cool. Where are we? Clay. No, we already read all that. Grant Montgomery says, if there's no quarantine, that would save me $3,600 each. Well, that is, that definitely would be good. Okay, Kalo, she says, how is it pumping gas? Is it similar to the US gas pump? Are there any different liters option? So everything is in liter in New Zealand. So that's the first thing. So in US, you have gallons. And in New Zealand, you have liters. So that was the first thing actually that I noticed. I was like, oh my. Also, the price of gas is way more expensive here in New Zealand than it is in the US. At the moment, it's 2 point something per liter, which makes it about $7 or $8 a gallon at the moment. So that's the first thing. Now for pumping gas, quite often you do have, so you have two kind of choices. You can either go to a machine, which is kind of pay as you go. You would put your card, put your code. You're going to say, I want to fill it up. So you press on the green button, or you can type, I want $80 of it. And then you get the nozzle. Is that called nozzle? Yeah, you get the nozzle and you put it in the whole of the car. I don't think I know the specific words for that, Carlo, but that's good. We're going to go with the nozzle in the hole. You put the nozzle in the hole and you pump, and either it's going to stop because it's full, it does like clunk, or either it's going to stop because the machine stopped because you said I want just $80. Then you put it back and you drive off. Otherwise, the other way to do it is to literally you park there and then you pick it up and you start filling it up. And then when you're done, you go to inside the shop and you try not to buy the overwhelmingly expensive candies all around the shop. Because why are gas stations always so expensive on candies?
But you do get a pie. In New Zealand, it's mandatory to get yourself a savoury pie. So there'll be that option as well. But make sure you cut up the pie before you eat it to let it cool down. Don't do what the newbies do, which is just bite straight into it. You will burn your mouth.
And so then you go to the attendant and you pay for it. Now they're going to ask you about points and flybys and all these kind of things. They're all those kind of point systems that are like loyalty points and everything like that. If they ask you at any point, do you want to save it or spend it? You always say save. It makes no sense to you always say spend. It makes no sense to say save because you accumulate points to get the same discount just next time. It makes no sense whatsoever. Just say spend. And that's it. Well, then you walk away and you have a receipt, and that's pretty much it. A couple of
They'll ask you what fuel pump you use. And you say, number 3.
Yeah.
You look at the numbers on your fuel pump. I mean, I don't know. I haven't ever fueled up a car in the US, so I don't know how different it is. But just add these little
also, gas stations are closer to each other than it is in the US. In the US, you get a lot of space and everything. They're a little closer in New Zealand. Anyway, the next thing that I want to say is that sometimes in supermarkets, when you do shopping, you will get a little voucher that says if you fill up at the Z gas station or at the Mobile gas station, you will get 6 cents off and everything like that. So keep those vouchers and then make sure you read when they expire and everything, and make sure to spend those vouchers as well. So usually, if you are about to do your grocery shopping, do the grocery shopping first and the fueling afterwards, so like that you can use that voucher there. And the last thing I wanted to say, I forgot it. So here you go.
So I hope that's enough information so that you know how gas stations work or fuel stations work.
You look really stressed about driving in New Zealand, Carol. I feel like most of your questions are surrounding driving in New Zealand. Will it be your first time driving in a foreign country? Is that the whole story right here? I'm just quite curious because you have all the questions about driving rather than planning your trip and finding epic things to visit and everything like that. You're just asking about driving.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I'm just curious, basically.
Yeah. To be fair, when I first arrived in New Zealand, I preferred to take the bus than to drive myself because I don't really like driving anyway. So I
now you found a chauffeur, so you're
now
great.
I found I drive now. Very rare occasions when Robin breaks his arm or something like.
That's true. That's the last time she drove.
Or when we have to go collect a car to replace our old car or something. Or very, very rare occasions. But I will drive now. Cool. But yeah, I do understand people that do stress about driving because it's kind of like, sometimes it's just not a comfortable experience.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay, emoji guy says hero sends emoji and send us a lot of emojis. I like that.
Emoji guy. And then we've
Yeah.
got Clay saying, tuning in from Queenstown today. After I'll be off to find much overpriced saucy roll. Took the kids to the Luma Light last night. Was awesome.
So the Luma Light Festival is happening at the moment in Queenstown. So yeah, there's a lovely little light and it looks really pretty. And yes, Queenstown is really expensive. So your saucy roll is going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
And if you end up getting a pie, don't forget to blow on it. Okay. Adil is here and says, Kia ora, everyone. Kia ora, Adil.
Kia
Emoji guy says, about hostel, I saw some advertisement for Auckland hostels about long-term rates. They offer awesome deals and discounts. Is it common to get good offers if we book a long-term stay in 14 plus days? Yes, very much. So yeah, being long-termers in hostels, and we do have some videos on the channel about long-termers in hostels, but definitely yields you a lot of really, really good discounts. You can go down to almost half price. I was a long-termer in a hostel in Auckland for a little bit, and yeah, very cheap.
Yeah.
Daniel says, thank you very much for your very detailed answer, guys. I will definitely check out the website. You're very welcome. So yeah, if you guys want to support the channel and all the answers we're doing and everything like that, share some of our videos and check out the website. That's always super handy. Speaking of videos, I forgot. There's a quiz at the end of this this video, by the way. So stick around. We're doing a quiz right at the end of that video, and that's going to be our last quiz, sadly. So that's going to be our farewell quiz. It's really not popular. No one's watching the quiz. Let's be honest. It was something that I enjoyed more than anyone else enjoyed. But if you wanna, this is going to be a fun quiz. New Zealand is well known, and I'm going to give a hint for one of the questions to actually kind of have little capitals of everything. So, for example, the town of Te Puke is the kiwi fruit capital of the world. God knows why, but it is.
Yeah.
So, for this reason, I decided to do an entire quiz about the capital cities of New Zealand. So, because they are definitely seeking attention, there is 15 questions about 15 crazy capital cities of New Zealand, and it's coming right up after this. So, check it out. And yeah, Laura doesn't know what it is, like the questions and everything. So she'll be playing along with you. So it's at 9:15 this morning. So in literally 30 minutes. So stick around. So I forgot about that. Anyway.
Robin will put the link to the quiz at some point in the live chat. So keep an eye on the live chat so you can dive into the quiz from there.
Exactly. Clay Bryant says, is Moke Lake worth the drive from Queenstown?
It is. It's quite nice. There is a little walk there. It's nice scenery. And yeah, I mean, if you do have some time to spare, if you have half a day and you want to go drive up there, have a bit of a walk, if that is your thing, which it seems like, I mean, Clay, you're usually going to random places around Dunedin. I feel like this is the sort of
your thing.
This seems like your sort of thing. So yeah, by all means, go up for a drive up there. It's a little bit of a gravel road to get up, and then go and enjoy the walk and the nice lake.
And it's one of the free activities to do in Queenstown, and they are very rare.
Very rare. Yes.
So yes. Nathan says, what is the best activity to do in the North Island in winter? Okay, I'd say you can pick one. I can pick one.
Yes.
I'd say going to ski or snowboard in Mount Ruapehu. It's quite rare in the world to be able to actually whiz down the slopes of a volcano. So, that's pretty awesome. So I'd say whizzing down the slope of a volcano.
Yeah, well, my thing I would say is actually go for a hike. I know that kind of sounds a little bit mundane, but in winter it's really awesome, especially if you do get a nice sunny day and stuff. Usually the hiking trails are really dead, there's no one on them, so you get to enjoy really amazing scenery all to yourself, and that's personally what I like to do. Yeah.
In fact, we do have some product reviews to do for you guys actually coming up this week, and we're taking this opportunity to go on a hike because the weather is not that terrible. So yeah, I like that. Good question, Nathan. I like it. Robert is back and he says, hey, here's my New Zealand beef.
Ooh.
Yum. Burgers coming. He said, it seems to me that if you're going to travel for 18 hours to another country, when you get there, they should have a common courtesy to speak another language. Why should you fly all that way to hear English again? You can fly a couple of hours in any direction around Europe to encounter a whole host of different dialects. Work on that, will you? Okay, well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Once you arrive in New Zealand, take a short flight for a couple of hours to any of the South Pacific Islands, and you'll be able to experience French, Kanak, Tongan, Fijian, Nuyans, and any form of Polynesian, Melanesian languages.
Even Indo-Fijian.
Yes. There is some fantastic languages around the South Pacific, which in my opinion are actually some of the most beautiful languages to listen to. So if you're flying that far, get yourself to the South Pacific and experience that amazing culture that is the Polynesian and Melanesian culture.
Yeah.
Here you go. That was a smart answer to your smart-ass comments. Here you go.
Or you could go to Rotorua and go to one of the Maori cultural performances.
There you go.
And they do whole long speeches, completely all in Te Reo Maori, which is the native language of New Zealand. So you can always listen to other languages if you go to sort of like Maori tour things. And
if you want something very, very, very different, the third official language in New Zealand, the first one is English, the second one is Maori, it's New Zealand Sign Language. So if you want to experience a world of silence, which will make those videos much less interesting, you will be able to experience that as well. So here you go. Clay says, always blow on the pie inside New Zealand joke. That is true. He says, when I went to Uruguay, we went to a gas station and I got out to start pumping and embarrassingly got towed up. The staff do it here, there. Yeah, there is some gas station that do that in New Zealand, but it's really on and off, and most of the time they just don't. And bonus point, Laura, what's the capital of Uruguay?
Oh, stop it, I don't know.
Montevideo. And Calo says, yes, first time driving in a foreign country. Total newbie here. I'll be the chauffeur for my cousin, so I don't want to look like a total idiot. How did that cousin got such a good deal? What happened right here?
Yeah.
I mean,
I understand your cousin. You need to be savvy enough to get yourself a chauffeur. Maybe you need to add someone else to your trip and make them the chauffeur.
Yeah, Carlo, how did you get talked into that? Traveling, like you did the whole trip. She talked me into that, but learn from my experience.
It's not really about talking someone into it. It's just doing actions to just make it happen. Like, you just naturally go to the passenger side and you're like, I thought you were driving, and then bam, they start driving. It's like you don't even have to do anything.
So it's not always all about big moves. It's also the small moves.
It's the subtle moves that get the other person to drive.
Oh my God, Carlo, my dear, I feel for you, but your cousin, man, should at least pay for your flight to New Zealand. I mean, honestly, you're gonna do a lot of driving. Nathan says RIP for the quizzes for knowledge of New Zealand. Well, we had fun. I did 5 or 6, that was quite cool. And if they end up being popular, growing in popularity a little bit later, maybe that'll work. Or maybe I'll do something different. We'll see. But for now, those ones are a bit dead. Yeah. PPK Roda says, hey guys, long time no see. Indeed, how are you doing? Jonathan Vincent says, greeting. I haven't been able to join for a few weeks, so I thought I'd pop in for a bit.
Everyone's coming back.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you for popping in, mates. How is it going on your side? Robin Joseph. Robin, you have a fantastic name. Says, is New Zealand good for young and middle-aged people? I heard that it's too laid back since it has less people as compared to cities like Australia, Sydney, and Melbourne. Young and middle-aged people, are you talking about people our age, kind of like that? Yeah, we enjoy it. There is a lot of activities to do. If you're outdoorsy, you're going to really love it. Business-wise, yeah, it's very laid back. Things happen at very, very slow pace, but that also means that there is good amount of opportunities for you to take advantage of. So here you go. You should check out our pros and cons videos of New Zealand. So Laura's has a pros and cons video for New Zealand, which I'm going to put a link for you in the live chat in a second. And I do also have a pros and cons video, but you'll find a link to that at the end of Laura's video. Check those out, and you see us comparing kind of New Zealand with other places that we lived in the world. I live, for example, in the US, in Australia, in Canada, and all that. So I compare and I draw some comparison to that, so you can see what we think of that. So let me just find the link for you while Laura is reading the next question. Yeah. If we can make that work, let's see if I can make that work. I will do that. Don't panic. Don't panic. I'm here. Okay, Laura is going to read, and I will be able to do that.
Okay, so after Robin's question, we have Christina saying, are New Zealand's borders still closed, and where can I read updates? And I didn't get to read the last bit, but yeah.
You can read updates. Can I read update for traveling to New Zealand?
Okay, so first of all, yes, the New Zealand borders are still closed as of the time of this recording, which is in June 2021. It is closed to most international countries, so that's still the case. If you want to get more information about the borders opening, it's good to go to sort of official government sources, for instance, like Immigration New Zealand. They have their own website. There's also the Ministry of Health as well. There's the Ministry of Education if you were looking for coming to New Zealand to study. So all those sorts of actual government websites for New Zealand have the official information of when the borders are open, and then as soon as any new updates happen or anything new happens, then they update their website straight away. But also here on this channel as well, once those official information have been announced, and once there are actually some big news where the borders will be open, then Robin and I are going to be the first ones to get onto YouTube and make a video for you guys to say, like, the news is just in that the borders will be open type thing. So so you can also subscribe to this channel where we will also be making sure to have a video up as soon as there's actually some big updates about the borders opening in New Zealand. But yeah, like I say, it's always good to go to the actual official government sources, because there is a lot of what they like to call fake news around the internet. So make sure that you actually go to official sources if you want to get official updates.
All right. So we're having Cooking with Heroes that says, hi, I live in Tauranga, New Zealand. Ooh, that's a very nice place to live into. Just on the shore of Lake Taupo, right in central North Island, just by the mountains. Loving it, mate. What are you doing on YouTube, mate? What are you up to in Tauranga? What did I want to say? Robin Joseph, I gave you the link for Laura's pros and cons. I think that's going to be very insightful for you to watch and to understand a little bit more of that. And after that video, you may watch my pros and cons, and I give you a good understanding of all that. But if you do have any follow-up questions, go ahead. You know we're here for you. Clay says, main point for me traveling is to see the sight, not listen to language people speak. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think it's all part, like when you travel, I think the whole experience takes, there is more to just actually see the sight, in my opinion, right? And it's not to just disagree with you, right? But I feel like the smells, the taste, and the sounds are extremely important into kind of feeling completely left-footed, be like, oh, wow, I'm definitely in a very different place. So I do really enjoy that when you show up in a place and just everything is completely different. Like I loved when we just showed up in Tonga, for example, and just everything was so different. It was like, wow, and it's one part that I really do like. And so I hope that, the next few places we visit is going to give us that feeling yet again. I do travel for, I think one of the things that I seek when I travel is the lack of familiarity. And I feel like it's just a feeling of like, things are very different here. What's that? And I really enjoy that.
Yeah, so you travel to liven the senses.
Exactly. Mark Angelo is commenting on your big brain tactics, Laura. Yeah, she definitely used big brain tactics on me. Carlo says she's an underage driver for the rental car, so I don't want to pay the extra fee.
Oh, yeah.
That's to say whatever. Still, if you drive her all around, you better get something out of her.
She can pay for the fuel, maybe.
Yeah, here you go.
No, that's a good compromise.
Yes. Clay says, similar to making a rubbish tea and coffee for the first time, and never get asked again. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Laura crashed her first car, and then you never have to drive again. That's smart. Yeah, or not expensive as well. I love it.
But that's quite funny because Robin has got out of making teas and coffees because of that actual reason. So it seems like we have a fair sort of relationship going on here. Like I get Robin to drive and he gets me to make the teas and coffees. It works. Yeah.
She makes disgusting food and I end up making dinner all the time.
Oh, come on. Anyway.
Okay. Arpin says, please don't mind, but your wife looked like my childhood crush.
Oh. Nice.
She's not my wife as well, so that helps as well.
So I'm free for the taking.
Grant says, smart answer to your smart ass comment. I'm dying here. Oh, well, Robert Laliberte, he's from Canada. He's coming quite often. He does like to tease us and everything on a lot of our videos and everything. So, I give him back some of the tease that he's giving us. It's kind of fun. It's all fun and games here. There's never any meanness on that channel. Or if there is midness, I just delete people, and that's really quick. Julia says, hello from Russia. Здравствуйте, Julia. How are you doing? Capital of Russia?
Moscow.
Here you go. We got one right. She says, I hope to visit New Zealand once again in 2022 or 2023. Awesome.
Yeah, we have
that'd be
our
cool.
fingers crossed for you, and hopefully the borders will be open by then. No, we all really hope they will be.
You know, one thing that would be really cool, I actually was thinking about that. Like, if in Russia, right, coming to New Zealand, you can shorten your flight a bit and make it such a whole experience. You could take the Trans-Siberian all the way to Vladivostok and then make your way to New Zealand. That would mean like basically making half the way by train and half the way by air. And that's the only place in the world that would allow you to do that. How epic would that be? Also, the Trans-Siberians look so awesome. Anyway, I digress. That's just one thing.
Looks like you've thought this out.
But Yulia, you should do that. And if you do that, you should make a little video and we can share it on the channel. Anyway, that's it. Nathan says, I hope to stay for the quiz. And Clay says, I completely agree. Just saying, if I went somewhere, I wouldn't have beef with hearing my language. Yeah, he doesn't. Robert doesn't really have beef. Robert just like to give some sass. It's just what he does. So don't panic, Kiwis. Robert was not dissing you. And when Mr. Robert La Liberte, passport 2211702, arrive at immigration, don't do cancel on his visitor visa and send him back. He was just kidding.
Yeah.
Christian Martinez says, what are your tips on groceries and shopping for food in New Zealand? I have heard it expensive.
Yeah, well, tips. When you are traveling around New Zealand, assuming that you are maybe coming to New Zealand to travel, when you get to sort of larger cities and towns where you do have larger supermarkets, the three sort of main supermarkets in New Zealand are Pack and Save, New World, and Countdown. But when you get to sort of those larger towns, do your shopping there rather than waiting till, running out of food. And then if you're in a smaller town and all you have access to is perhaps Foursquare or a convenience store, convenience stores and Foursquares tend to be a little bit more expensive. So, just don't leave it till the last minute and you're stuck with no options. Any advice for
keep the little voucher on your receipt? When people ask you, do you want a receipt or not, say yes for the receipt because you'll get a little voucher for gas. So we already mentioned about that a little bit earlier, but why not? It's always helped you save a little bit of money on gas. I personally prefer doing shopping for extended period of time. I just find it a bit easier rather than having to stop all the time. So if you can kind of think ahead and do your shopping for like maybe about a week when you're on the road, that will save you having to find a new supermarket and all that thing.
Yeah.
So make sure you compare prices, because sometimes the family value pack is much more expensive than the non-family value pack. And if I am traveling, I usually go for mostly very versatile ingredients. So don't try to go for that one recipe of smoked salmon, blah, blah, blah. Just go for like super versatile stuff, like go for pastas and rice and then eggs, like those really versatile ingredients. So much easier because then you can quickly whip up something together rather than having like that, and have a lot of little leftovers.
Yeah.
That'd be my take on food shopping when going. Okay, Emoji Guy says, I almost said your real name, mate. Emoji Guy says, I hope the border opens at the end of 2021. Well, our prediction is mostly 2022. I don't know if that's going to be opening because, the vaccination efforts in New Zealand haven't even started for the general population. So right now, all the MIQ, which is many basic quarantine workers, should be vaccinated, and they are working on the at-risk population, which is people with pre-existing condition and elderlies. So they're working on that. But by the end of July only, they're going to be starting the general population. So, it will take a while until everybody gets vaccinated. And until that is happening, I don't think the New Zealand borders are opening. But we may do an update in next month also about the New Zealand borders opening. As, it has been more than 6 months that we've done the last one. But to be fair, we still kind of stick to what we think is happening for the last one. So here you go. The next thing that we're looking forward to is the borders opening for the country of Niue, which we are predicting are opening in October. So here you go. What do we have? Kaylo, she says, would you guys ever do a meetup? We've done a meetup before, and yes, we'll definitely do it again when people are traveling again. But when we're on the go, sometimes we just say, hey guys, we'll meet you in Auckland at that time, and on that evening, pop into the bar and come have a drink with us. So yeah, we definitely do meet up. Sometimes we had some people that contacted us and say, hey, I'll be nearby where you guys are around those time. Do you guys have time to meet up? And sometimes we can make it, sometimes we can't. But yeah, we had a restaurant dinner actually with a couple from the US. I'm not going to say their name for privacy reasons, but
we've also done a hike with a guy that has been like watching our YouTube channel for a while. We meet up with odd people as well when they get in touch.
They're not all odd, they're nice people.
Yeah, occasional. I mean, random people. But yeah, we have done meetups when we have gone to, mainly when we go to sort of a larger town or city, and we know that we're going to be staying there for a while. We try and organize a meetup because that's when we know there tends to be more people maybe around to actually come and meet up with us.
Yulia says correct. It's Moscow, and she's here, and she said your pronunciation of Russian words are pretty good, by the way. Thank you very much. 6 years of learning Russian have allowed me to say hello in a decent way. Woo! Yay. Not time wasted. Yeah, sadly, when you don't practice a language, you lose it really quickly, and so what has happened. To be fair, I'm losing my French as well. So here you go, and I barely speak English correctly. So I am not going to be able to communicate with any living beings ever again. I'm going to be. You know what? I'm going to go live with the monkeys.
Yes, good. I think that's best.
Yes. I would love to. Arpit says, I would love to see you saying something in Hindi, an Indian language. Can you try saying Hare Rama, Hare Krishna?
Yeah.
Perhaps. Okay.
How is that?
It is an address to God. So here you go. Hope Krishna is not too upset, and I'm not going to unleash the wrath of Krishna on me by pronouncing so bad. How was it, Arpit? Can I get a rating out of 5 stars? How many stars do I get? Robert, no, I was not trying to shame me. I was just making a joke. Clay says he went to the Great Moscow Circus last week. It was epic. Yeah, there is a circus running around New Zealand at the moment with Russian flavor. I've seen that actually. Yulia says, one more tip for grocery stores. Always take all the newspapers and magazine at the airport as much as you could. There is a coupon and discount cards. Very helpful for travelers. What? I don't think they do this anymore, but I understand that was the visitor card for Countdown. I remember what you were doing. They don't do that anymore. But yes, that is true, Yulia. Anthony Comstock says, stay safe, but I'm here until the end. Have a good week. Yes, we're here for another 10 minutes and then join us for the quiz. So yeah, another 10 minutes of this and then join us for the quiz. Okay, so now that while you guys are popping up with some new questions, finally I can go over the little news that we were supposed to talk about. So yesterday we had on the channel Laura's giving tips for traveling in New Zealand in June. So that is happening. Then in about 10 minutes we do have a last quiz. So that's going to be the last quiz. Then New Zealand news. The borders are still kind of open, quarantine free with Australia, with the exception of the state of Victoria, which has had some outbreaks, and so therefore New Zealand has reclosed its border. So seeing the behavior of New Zealand with Australia, which is closer neighbor, closer trading partners, and all that, that makes us not want to change our New Zealand borders opening just yet. But we will try to do an update for you guys anyway, just to kind of refresh all our take on that. Next, the New Zealand borders are open with the Cook Islands, and people are traveling going over there for a holiday, which is really exciting. And the next border opening that we're kind of predicting is the small country state of Niue, and we think that may happen around October, September, October, probably more October, because the Niuean people are going to start getting vaccinated next month. So that'd be quite good, and that is done through the help of New Zealand. So that's quite nice. Other pieces of news that may affect travelers in New Zealand. Yes, there have been some flooding in the plains of Canterbury near the town of Ashburton in the South Island. Yeah, it happens regularly, pretty much every winter to a certain extent. And yeah, nothing too bad. And that's pretty much it for the news. Did I forget anything?
It's the Queen's birthday.
Oh, yeah, it's the Queen's birthday. So happy birthday, Queenie.
And it's a public holiday in New Zealand, so people are enjoying a long weekend.
Yes, that's true. That's true. We've seen a lot of people looking for families activities on NZ Pocket Guide lately. So here you go. That is why. Okay, going back to the live chat. By the way, guys, if you find that useful, there's 26 of you watching and we got 17 likes. Can we make that even at 26? That'd be pretty awesome. And that's free for you guys there. Thank you for all our hard work sharing our knowledge about New Zealand. So it's cool. And if you don't like us, there is a button next to the like button. Don't click on it. Calo says, she asked, have you been to Antarctica? No, I haven't.
No.
I think, so although it's a place I would really love to visit, I also think that there are some places on Earth that are best left untouched. And I'd love those places to remain human-free for that. And that's basically my pledge for World's Environment Day today. Let's not go to Antarctica today. Let's leave Antarctica to the Antarcticans, i.e. the emperor penguins, the whales, the orcs, the seals, that's pretty much it.
Are there polar bears in the Antarctic? Or are they just in the Arctic?
And moving on to RP, he says, oh, brilliant, exactly. That's a 4.8 out of 5. 4.8 out of 5 I just got. Laura, do you want to try the sentence? See if you get 4.8 out of 5 as well?
Okay. Hare Rama Hare Krishna.
Here you go. We'll wait for RP's rating. Okay, Grant says, and FYI, I got the one-time Johnson & Johnson shot on March 18. I had flu-ish symptom last night and a sore arm, but that was it. Cool. So he's vaccinated now and he's not dead. Or Grant, are you mind controlled by Bill Gates just yet or not? If not, that means it's pretty good. There's a lot of crazy things on the internet nowadays, so I'm trying to kind of show people. And now, to be fair, Laura and I, as soon as we do have the right to get the vaccine in New Zealand, we will, and we'll do a video about it, just to show that vaccines are fine. We got a ton of vaccines in the last few years, and we are okay. Traveling to the South Pacific.
Speaking of,
here you go. Michael Mariano from Hawaii says, aloha, good morning, everyone, and a ton of emojis. How are you doing, Michael? How is it going in Hawaii? He says, Hawaii outdoor mask mandate has been lifted. Hopefully, this will be the start. Are you also
vaccinated?
Yes. Are you also vaccinated, Michael? And if not, when is it available to you? Nathan says, hopefully, when everything goes back to normal, you hope to travel to the South Pacific Islands. Yes. So we are traveling to the Pacific Islands quite a lot. So I don't know if you know that, Nathan. But on top of running the website called NZPocketGuide.com, we're running NuePocketGuide.com, FijiPocketGuide.com, and TongaPocketGuide.com, which are the largest travel guide for those countries as well. And these more countries that need our help in showcasing the amazingness that they have on offer where they live and for tourists. So we hope to get on a plane when we are vaccinated. Yes. Jonathan Vainson says, give it a like. Yes, he's right. Give it a like. 24 views, 21 likes. You guys did awesome. Wow, it just feels so good. Robin Joseph says, which city of France are you from? It's very small. It's on the south coast of France. So right on the south. So I'm one of those people that speak with a funny accent. Or I used to. Now I speak with a weird accent.
No accent now.
I know, it's so weird. Clay says, I wonder why it isn't held on the actual Queen's birthday. I don't know when the actual Queen's birthday is and why Queen's birthday. That's why I thought it was Queen Victoria, but I don't really know.
I think we need to do a little bit of research about this.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to put an article on Backpacker Guide, on NZ Pocket Guide.
Ooh, that was a throwback Thursday. Okay, what do we have? Clay is mocking Antarcticans. Is that a thing? Yes, all the animals living in Antarctica are Antarctican. It's a thing, and if it's not, we need to make it a thing now.
Yes.
Here you go.
We shall write to the Emperor Penguin.
Nathan says, I hope to travel to the Pacific. Oh, that's cool. Which Pacific island got you fancy, Nathan? Tell us more. We actually have a complete guide video of Niue and a complete guide video of Tonga on the channel, actually, if you're interested to see our take on that. Julia says, to support the vaccine topic, I got the Sputnik 5. Or a Sputnik 5, if I'm correct, on April.
Now you're just showing off.
Yeah, look at that. I was like thinking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. What's 9? I don't know 9. That is funny. Julia, how do you say 9 in Russia? Anyway, she say everything is okay for her since she got the vaccine, and same info from her parents and her friends. So here you go. The vaccine is fine. Yulia, are you mind controlled by Vladimir Putin since you got the vaccines? Probably not, right? Everything's okay. Right?
So Clay's saying, blast from the past, lol. Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes Backpacker Guide slips out now and then.
Yes.
And Grant says, it didn't come with the chip.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't get that version then.
Nathan says, I think maybe the Cook Island or New Caledonia.
Ooh,
interesting.
nice.
That's nice. And Julia says, V, its name, V in the name is V for victory and not the 5 for Roman numerals.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, now I know.
Yeah, I'm learning every day.
Yes. Also, how do you say 9 in Russian? That's going to bother me for a long time. Please help me. Arpit says, foreigners always look so cute talking in Hindi. You both pronounce it very nicely, especially Laura. Here you go. It's just because you could. It's just hitting on you now.
Just because I remind you of your childhood crush.
Yes. Cano says polar bears are only in the Arctic. Yeah, that's why I swap question quickly.
So
it's okay.
I say stupid things a lot.
Just sometimes, you just need to whiz through things and be like, it's fine, that didn't happen, and move on. So that's what I did.
Yeah, it was more like it was just an awkward silence after it. It kind of enhanced the fact that I'd said it. It would have been better if we'd actually just, said about something about it as it happened.
Yes. So Kello basically she had your back.
Yeah.
She was like, no, it's just in the Arctic. Boom, learning something new. Moving on. Okay, what do we have? Christian says, have any of you been to Mexico? No, I have not. Laura, have you?
No, I haven't.
She said, I am Mexican living in the USA. I'm so looking forward to travel to New Zealand when it opens. Vaccinated, and I'm loving your channel, guys. Oh, that's really nice. So I did hang out with a lot of Mexicans in the US. I was in a small town of Flagstaff, Arizona, weirdly enough. And there was a lot of Mexicans over there, and I loved hanging out with them. You guys definitely know how to party. Cool. Goth Azoth says, Kia ora. Sorry if this was asked before, but will New Zealand open the borders for the rest of the world, or at least those with the vaccine?
Yeah, so there's been no new official information for when the borders are going to open for New Zealand, unfortunately, so we can't actually tell you that information. However, you can check out our border predictions video, which we have on the channel on YouTube. So Robin's going to put up on the screen right now how you can search for that video. And that gives you guys a little bit more context on where we think the borders will open and what sort of criteria we think the New Zealand government will use to decide when the borders will open, for instance. So basically, if you want a longer version of that answer to your question, then go head over to that video.
So far, not before 2022.
Yes.
Michael Marino says, yes, I got both dosage of the vaccine. I felt fine in both. I just got tired on the second shot. I got the Pfizer vaccine. 56% of Hawaii got the complete vaccination.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty good. Also nice.
Yeah, that's much more than New Zealand.
Feeling a little bit tired or having arms sore and everything happened with every vaccine, right? Yeah. When we were planning a few trips to the South Pacific Islands, when we go to Tonga or to Niue or anything like that, we have to take like measles and a lot of other vaccines.
Well, you don't have to take these vaccines, but the sort of vaccines that you've had when you're a kid. So, for instance,
refreshing them,
mumps and measles and stuff. And when you get to our age, I'm coming up to my 30s, Robin is in his 30s, you kind of forget what vaccines you've had when you're a kid, and some of them you actually need refreshers on. So when you are doing a lot of traveling around the world and stuff, we kind of just figured like it's good to just sort of get those vaccines done again if we don't know if we've had the vaccines, or get a refresher where you need to get refreshers for them, because actually quite a lot of those vaccines when you're a kid you actually do need to get again if when you're an adult. But adulting is hard and sometimes you don't know what vaccines you need and stuff. So it's just like it's been kind of a normal thing for us to get a vaccine. And and so being tired or having an arm sore is absolutely normal with a lot of different vaccines. So there you go. Nathan says, have a great day. See you next week. Oh, Nathan, you're not staying for the quiz? It's coming up in like literally 2 minutes. All right.
Emoji Guy says, 2 months ago, my sister did take the Sputnik Victory, Sputnik V2, and she's fine, but I think she's acting like the Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Goth Azoth says, thank you, guys. Emoji Guy is laughing about the mind control. And finally, Julia helps me is Divyat. That's how you say
Oh.
9. Jeez, that was so annoying. And she says so the T should be soft because another little letter is called a soft sign. Yes, the one with the this one. It's like a mini B. It's like, and she says so in Russian it's Divyat. Oh yeah, she wrote it Divyat. Here you go. It's like it's a moist.
It's a moist tea.
It's a moister. You put it somewhere and you just kind of moisten the
moist
rest
maker.
Yeah, that's the moist maker of the Russian language. Yeah, I always did find that letter really funny. All right, guys. So in the live chat right now, I'm putting a link. It's the link for the quiz. It's coming up really soon. If you want to come and have fun with us, it's going to be only about it's 10 minutes. It's just quick questions about New Zealand weird capital cities.
Capitals of and places which have statues at the
big
front,
sculptures
at
and
the
everything
front of
like
their town saying "We are the capital of," or like kiwi birds or gumboots.
Here you go. So in the meantime, if you want to pick our brain 24/7, nzpocketguide.com. I'm going to put the link right here on the screen. Also, we will be back here next week at exactly the same time. It's on Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. If you want to know what time it is on your side of the world, we had like Lizzie, which is from somewhere in Australia, which was commenting this week on some of our videos and saying that we get the time very wrong. Yes, we do. So therefore, there is a link in the description of this video that will tell you what time it is. So that's going to be easier.
Yes.
And finally, we have Clay that says moist. And Robin Joseph that says, have you got your COVID shot? Sadly, we did not because it's not available to the New Zealand general population just yet. But at the end of July, it will be available. And as soon as it's available to us, we will. And we'll make a video about it. So here you go. All right, guys, there is a link in the live chat. See you for the quiz. And don't forget, moist. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
See you for the quiz.